Hello and welcome to this later morning taste challenge. This is going to count for Friday, and I have two old brands. This is Bellows, established 1830 Bellows. There's a spider crawling across the top. You might see the spider. Well, jump down. Oh, there he is. See him hanging? Maybe you see him hanging on his thread. I'm not trying to hurt you. You go on about your business now, spider. No, I thought you said I'm okay, spider. Established 1830 B for Bellows. There's a insect like a honeybee. To me, it looks like a housefly, but club whiskey, American blended whiskey. William Bellows and Son. Okay, look. An honored name since 1830. It's true, it was established in 1830. This product is 80-20 on the blend ratio. Now it's hanging on my hand. You go on about your business, spider. And it's a 80-20 blend ratio, meaning it's 80% grain neutral spirits unaged and 20% straight whiskey, aged 4 years or more. And it's a 1 liter bottle, and I got it at International Market for $8.99. And this is a very old bottle. It's a Beam bottle. You can see the conical top, that old Beam top, like you see on Old Crow. Yes. For instance. And I pinned this down to 1994. It's because it was like, tell how old your bottle is, and there was clues you could use to identify. So it's 1994 bottle. Back when Bellows was owned by the Beam Company, who had bought it from some other company who had bought it from Bellows. All right. Now it's owned by Luxco since 2015. Beam sold it to Luxco in 2015. Do they still make the club whiskey? I don't know. I don't think so. But I'm reluctant to say that because as soon as I say they don't make it anymore, somebody's going to come up and say, I got a brand new bottle. What are you talking about? It says Luxco on it. So I'm not going to say they don't make club whiskey anymore. Have I actually seen it in a club? No, but I've seen it in a restaurant. I saw it at Chinese King in their bar area. It's not a bar room. It's a bar area where they make cocktails. So, yes, I have seen it. But only in a store at International Market in Metairie, Louisiana on Barron Street, and only at Chinese King. All right, here is Kessler, the number 2, the second best-selling blended whiskey in America, introduced in 1888. Kessler, American blended whiskey, smooth as silk. 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof, showing the Old West. He started selling this out west, blended whiskey in the western states in the 1870s. He introduced his own Kessler whiskey in 1888. He moved back to, he was born in Budapest in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Actually, when he was born, it was the Austrian Empire, but not the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Habsburg Empire. And then he moved to the United States. When Prohibition started, he got disgusted and he left and moved to Vienna, Austria, Austrian Republic. Then when Prohibition ended, he moved back to the United States, and his company was sold to Seagram's. But he was the brand representative of Kessler for Seagram's. He was a real old man, like 80 years old in 1935. Yeah, 1935, he was 80. And he was still working for Seagram's as their brand representative. And they say he stayed in Cuba a lot, Havana, back when Havana was free enterprise, Rollickin' City. Yeah, 1855 he was born. So he came to the United States in his 20s and got into the liquor business. But his deal was blended whiskey, okay? And this one is an interesting blend. It's 27.5 straight bourbon or straight whiskey. It could be straight corn whiskey, but it's 27, it's 80. Oh, can I get it right? It's 72.5 grain spirits, 72.5 grain spirits, and 27.5% straight whiskey, aged 2 years, only 2 years. Could it be they're using cast off Jim Beam whiskey, aged 2 years? Yeah, it probably is what they're using, but that's fine. Does Beam-Suntory make even cheaper whiskeys than Beam? Yeah, they make Old Crow, which apparently is, some people claim, I've never seen any actual evidence, but they claim it's only a 3-year aged Jim Beam. Jim Beam is at least 4 years. Hey, they're making it in mega volume, right? So why not sell off some 3-year aged Jim Beam as Old Crow, sell off 2-year aged Jim Beam and blend it with Beam's 8-star at an 80-20 blend ratio, and then with Julius Kessler at 72.5 to 27.5 blend ratio. Makes sense to me. It's probably true. I can't prove it, but why not? All right. This handle bottle, plastic, beautiful plastic. Nothing like the thud of polypropylene. Bought this at Total Wine and More. It was $12.99 for this big jug bottle. $12.99. The price is going up with government-induced inflation. When the prices go up, who do you need to thank? Every time you see these prices going up, thank your government. Thank that government in Washington, D.C., because they're the culprit. You want to give credit where credit's due. Now, let's be fair. We want to be fair. $12.99 divided by 1,750 times 750. $5.57 a bottle for a regular size bottle. That's about as cheap as they come. Even as cheap as it is, it's still the number 2 selling blended whiskey. You have to realize bottle dates are only when the bottle was manufactured, says the Whiskey Scout of Kansas. Thanks for watching, Whiskey Scout. Sometimes they linger. You mean they linger? I'll do that too. I forget to put the Y. They linger in warehouse a year or 2 before being filled. Okay. That's what I was thinking myself. I was thinking, why they didn't just have bottles like on a, in a bottle rack. But that's the best I can do, because there's nowhere else indicated. It's not like they have this computer etching like they do now. In fact, this bottle has bubbles in it. The glass has bubbles, so it's very rough cut. And I really think there's no other way to determine it. All I can go is by, 0194, January 94. But like you're saying, that's when the bottle was produced. Doesn't mean when the whiskey was dumped in the bottle. But let's say mid-90s, because it looks like something from the mid-90s. And we know for sure it's the Beam bottle, and we know that it was sold to Luxco in 2015. This much we certainly do know. And we also know that, do you ever see club whiskey anywhere in any store? I don't. Well, I mean, I did. I bought it at International Market, but then their stock is gone. Now, they still sell this Beam, Bellows. They still sell Bellows, the modern bottle. This is a modern bottle. So if you go to International Market, you can get this, and it's $8.99 for the liter. Modern Luxco bottle. They got rid of the housefly or the bee, the honey bee, and they put WB, William Bellows. And it says American Blended Whiskey, bottled by Bellows Company, St. Louis, Missouri. But this is 80-20, like the others, like the other one. But there's no age statement. But that doesn't matter, because that means a straight whiskey has to be at least 4 years old. So it's still at least 4 years old. They just didn't put it for whatever reason. Okay, it's the closest you can get to some whiskey. I've never seen it. I have some Bellows, but not the blended whiskey. Yeah, I have Bellows bourbon also that I bought at Savannah Discount for the incredible price of $5.99 for the liter. I don't know why they had it so cheap. I didn't ask questions. I bought it. I went back a month later. It was never seen again. Because for that price, it's going to sell out in like a day. They're going to come in there and say, $5.99? Their attitude is going to be like mine. Even if it's trash, I'm going to buy it. I'll mix it with tomato juice and drink it. It's just, you can't lose. for $5.99 a liter, you just cannot lose, unless like it's poison in it or something. But anyway, so the beer hound was harassing me basically to do this. And I told him I already did Kessler, but I only had a 200 milliliter bottle. So what I did was very limited. I thought it was good, but then when I did the solo review, which is going to be posted eventually, I wasn't like totally thrilled at all, because it seemed like it had that bad Heaven Hill blended whiskey taste, meaning like cornbread and somewhat weird caramel. No, not caramel. That weird nut oil, like nut oil. I don't know. It's hard to describe. But if you're into self-abuse, go buy a bottle of Kentucky Bow. You'll see what I mean. But on my initial tasting, I wasn't thrilled with it. I'm going to tell you right now. Wait, let's cook this. I forgot to make my tags. J.K. Julius Kessler. And then we got the other whiskey here. This is counting for Friday. Like I said, I did my Thursday thing this morning. So then Monday's never a good day. So I might have to do Monday today. You say, why not Sunday? Stout Sunday is coming, and I have a 22 ounce, 10%, no joke, a 10% alcohol bottle from Wisconsin called it's called Chocolate Babka. Chocolate Babka. 10% alcohol flavored stout. You know how that's going to be. That's going to be just out of hand. And to turn around off of that and start tackling whiskey, it's just asking for trouble. And I tend to say ridiculous things when I'm not dealing with like that, so I don't want to, I just say no, better cool it. So I'm thinking ahead, I know what I got coming on Stout Sunday, that Chocolate Babka. 10%, 22 ounce bottle. That's not going to be any kind of game. So then I figured now I could do this, take a little sample. It won't be too much. And then do the follow up with the regular Bellows. That'll count for Monday. And then Tuesday be back on track with the daily thing until we give it up for Lent. Joe Biden's dentist. So Ron, have you tried the plantation pineapple rum? I never heard of it. Sorry. Jeep and Foodie said, been trying to be better about catching your mid-morning taste challenges. Well, I mean, people have things to do, and they're not sitting around the house all day saying, oh, when is the next video coming? And that's the thing. That's the good thing about it. It's recorded. It's being recorded now, so you could always go back and watch it later if you really want to. Do I watch these kind of reviews? I do watch them. In fact, I just finished looking at the one that the beer man made yesterday. What's your style? And they were doing barley wine style ales. I never heard of any of those products except for the Bigfoot 2021, which Bumpy Road Brewery Jesse was reviewing, and he wasn't too thrilled. He was thinking it was too bitter. He was saying it's too bitter. I'm only going to give it an 89. Well, I was shocked. Couldn't believe it. And I said, well, I've had that one. I did a solo review soon to be posted. And I said, I gave it a good deal higher score, but that was his opinion. He said he thought it could age more and mellow out. And so he wasn't too thrilled. It seemed like he might've had a few other products before that review, but I mean, I can't say that I haven't done that myself, but anyway, so we can't say too much about that. And you might be able to say some things about me in a little while when I go do the Monday. What did I review this morning? I reviewed a beer that was sent to me from Wayne. Oh, appearance. The Kessler, I noticed, is much darker. It's caramel color. And this one is just gold, like gold jewelry, you know, gold. American blended whiskey is allowed to add caramel coloring up to a certain level. Can't be too high. If you look at the Tax and Trade Bureau website, it's very definitive, like it's allowable, but only so much. And they can add blending sherry. If you look under the chapter 7, I think it is, flavorings. They can add blending sherry, but it cannot exceed 2.5% of the volume. And they said that caramel color and blending sherry can be added to help with consistency of flavor and color. But the vast majority has to be grain spirits and straight whiskey. Now, you say, well, what's the difference between American blended whiskey and Canadian blended whiskey and Irish blended whiskey and blended Scotch whiskey? Basically, there is no difference because it's the same concept. There is Spanish blended whiskey and Japanese blended whiskey. In fact, in India, there's a lot of blended whiskey. I'd be reluctant to try those because you always hear these stories about people going blind. But anyway, I guess if it's owned by Diageo, it'd be fine. But the main difference is this. In Canada, in the Dominion of Canada, the Republic, the Irish Republic, or the British-controlled Northern Ireland territory, or Scotland, they can use grain spirits. Okay, it could be they usually be 80% grain alcohol, but they have to be aged. So they take corn, they distill it, make grain alcohol. In a column still, they have, what do you call them? Distilleries, factories in Scotland that only make that. In Ireland too, they just make only grain spirits. Pump it out all day long. It's not going to have much flavor, if any. No aroma, no character. It's like if you drink that, it would taste like drinking nothing. But it isn't made for that. It's made as a base, the base, and then they add the flavor. The flavor comes from the 20%, or in the case of Bushmills Black Bush, it's 80% single malt. It's flipped. That's why it's so much better and more expensive. But the flavor comes from the single malt whiskey, which is all barley malt whiskey, aged 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 20 years. But in Scotland, Northern Ireland, the Irish Republic, Dominion of Canada, it has to be aged at least 3 years. You put it in a wood barrel, aged it, well, then it's whiskey. See, after you age it, and for 3 years, it's whiskey. Now, the funny thing about the grain spirits on Tax and Trade Bureau, it says it has to be stored in wooden vessels. Well, if you're storing it and it's in wood, which is oak, isn't it aging? In a theoretical sense, it's aging, but now they might only store it for a week before they blend it with the straight Jim Beam, whatever. Okay, comments, and then we're going on with it. Jack Daniels is the whiskey for me, says Angelo Zaccarelli. Well, it's the whiskey for most everybody in America, it looks like, because it's the #1 selling whiskey in America. Been trying to get, oh, yeah, okay. Already read that. Okay, all right. So price point, Bellows is really cheap, but Kessler is cheaper. I mean, it's really cheap. You say, what about Beam's 8-star? Oh, yeah. It's so cheap. Go to Dorgnac's and get it. It's so cheap. Mathern's, it's not sold anywhere in this parish. You got to go to Jefferson Parish. I've never seen it in St. Charles Parish. Do a lot of people buy Beam's 8-star? A lot of restaurants and bars buy it. I don't think too many consumers buy it. Why would a restaurant and bar want to buy Beam's 8-star, 80/20, age only 2 years? Think about it. People go to eat at, they go out to eat seafood at, in Metairie at Drago's, get charbroiled oysters and a seafood platter. Oh, would you like a drink, sir? Oh, my wife and I would like a Beam and Coke. Oh, excellent idea. A Beam and Coke. Okay. They're not lying to you. You're getting a Beam and Coke, all right. And it's only $8.50 a cocktail. It's a deal. I saw all these University of Mississippi Rebels fans pouring into Louisiana last month for the Sugar Bowl between Baylor, University of Texas, and Mississippi. They had so many. I was like, why is Middendorf's seafood restaurant packed with people on a Thursday at 11 a.m.? I mean, you wouldn't think that would be a time where there'd be a lot of people. Everybody in there was wearing Ole Miss. I said, oh, okay. And they were lining up to the bar and said, I want Bloody Marys. They all want Bloody Marys. Every drink they ordered was a Bloody Mary. I didn't hear anybody say an old fashioned or a Tom Collins or anything. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Now, the only thing the bartender, the waitress, barmaid asked him was, you want a house with vodka or you want a particular vodka? Well, one guy wanted I think he said Tito's. So she made it. And then he looked at the bill. He said, whoa, expensive. And I'm thinking, you got it. Then the rest of them came up. They all said the house vodka, the house vodka, house vodka. So I'll eat my food and I'm looking over the counter nonchalant. And this place is only 15 miles from here. Well, 20 if you count going around in traffic and around this curve. But it's close. I said, oh, look at them. Bless their heart. They're using our Crown Rust vodka, which was a cheap cut rate Seagram's brand that they sold to Sazerac in 1989. Now it's a cheap cut rate Sazerac brand. And I was thinking to myself, you know, they're paying $8 for these Bloody Marys. And these three women were standing behind me from North Mississippi. And the first response from the woman behind me was, they're all these were all middle-aged women, like in their 40s. Late 30s at the youngest, but I don't believe. But one woman tasted it, and I'm just acting like I don't know what's going on. Like I'm just concentrating on my food. She says, oh, so good. And the other one says, it really is. And I'm thinking, just goes to show you. You don't know what the brand is, and the woman makes it, and it's so good. But if you brought that bottle of Crown Rust to their house for a party, like say they were playing cards, like playing gin rummy party, you know they would, why do you bring Crown Rust? So it's all a matter of how it's framed, isn't it? It's a psychological thing. How is it framed? I wonder if I can find Bellows Club here in Arizona. You might. When it comes to light beer or alcohol for mixing, says Joe Biden's dentures, I subscribe to the Ron Terrio philosophy, shop price. Amen. That little story I just told you it's a perfect example. And they were drinking it all day. Check out your prices for Crown Rust, and you're going to see how much money that restaurant is making off of that. And I know a guy that's a bartender at New Orleans Country Club. I said, Crown Rust. He laughed. Oh, no. He said, you know how many pours you get out of that $7.50 bottle? And the bottle, they buy it wholesale, it's probably $3.88 a bottle. And they loved it. Well, I got to say, these things here, they're really not that different than blended Irish whiskey, because that's kind of bland on the nose, too. Except it costs you twice as much. But this one has a lot more nut oil aroma. It's got to be the Kessler. But then you know what the thing about the club whiskey is? It's got a harsh, peppery bite. Talk about a strange product. I haven't been able to pin that one down. Okay, aroma. Well, I guess if you want to do it, go ahead. Nobody sips these neat though, except me, I guess. All right, taste. Are they missing out not sipping them neat? No, they're not missing out. Well, predominant grain spirits. Just think of corn that's distilled, watered down with tap water. They told me at the distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. I said, how do you get it down to 80 proof? She said, well, did this use tap water? Out of a faucet. That's their treatment level. That's what it tastes like, honestly. Is this one much different? No, but it is different. There's more wood, there's more whiskey, there's more straight bourbon in the taste. It's got to be the Kessler. Now, funny thing about these products, you drink them on their own, they'll have a certain characteristic, certain flavor, certain profile, certain demeanor or whatever. But when you put them into taste challenges, the whole ball game changes. It's a strange thing. Because if you take this and you go against whiskey A, it'll make it different. Whiskey B, C, D, E, every time it'll be different. I mean, many times. Now, George Dickel, Cascade Hollow still tastes like Flintstone vitamins, no matter how you spin it. But many times it'd be very different. Is the price going to matter here? No way, because, I mean, we're talking about the lowest of the low prices. I mean, if you went any lower than this, that means somebody gave it to you. You didn't buy it. It was free. Okay? There's no off-putting or nasty aroma or flavor now. I got to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and try to just like, you know, make jokes like, ha ha, it's so cheap, ha ha, yuck, 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 and all of that riffraff, because I don't even understand people that make videos like that, because everybody knows it's cheap. So, I mean, what, you know, like, what point are you trying to make? We know it's cheap. Vanilla, vanilla, nut oil, like almond oil. They both have a lot of corn, sugar, because they're made from corn, sweet corn. I saw them unloading the corn kernels from that big truck at Bardstown. Tons of it. Can you imagine the problem they must have with rats running around? There must be an endless torment. But they probably got cats wandering around. Let them walk. Don't even feed them. Let them wander around. They'll eat rats all day. All right. I mean, it's a real problem in these facilities that deal with a lot of grain, vermin. But we're not going to get on that. Well, would I recommend these? I don't know even what to say about these. How do you recommend? Yeah, I would recommend them if you're going to do very basic cocktails, meaning coming home from work, eating a TV dinner, watching Sanford and Son reruns, and mixing this with Hawaiian Punch or Delaware Punch or RC Cola. Yeah, I would recommend them for that. Would I recommend it that you buy bottles and bottles for your daughter's wedding? I would not recommend that. Except for later during the reception. Say, by the time they cut the groom cake, then serve it, because they ain't going to notice. That's when you'd be trying to break up the fights anyway. Do I like a wedding reception? I certainly do, especially when I'm not at it. when I don't get invited to it, when I don't have to go. Love it. You say, but look at all the dinky, like not so great finger food you can eat. That's true. You get to talk to all the people that you never get to see and who apparently have no interest in your life anyway. Oh, I'm not trying to be negative though. You do get to do the chicken dance. No, I'm not trying to be negative. I don't like wedding receptions. All right. I do remember a wedding reception, 1975. 1973 at La Place Elementary School, that school had a very big auditorium. And so people would rent the hall for a wedding reception. You know, it was an elementary school. And I remember going there and all the people had the tuxedos and it was a lot of music. And I was incessantly played Band on the Run. They must have played that song 5 times. And I kept hearing that. Band on the Run, and they just kept playing it. And I was thinking at 5 years old. I remember thinking, what does that mean, band on the run? I thought they were talking about a rubber band, like a band, a band. You're a child, so I said, why would a band be on the run? Well, of course, that song went to #1, and later on, I realized, they meant a music band, a group. They were on the run, so. And then I went to a wedding reception 2 years later, and they kept playing Listen What the Man Said. Just listen to what the man said. And I listened. Anyway, enough of that jibber jabber. I'm going to call it a tie. Really, honestly, I cannot say I would recommend one over the other. I would go to the point where if it's a penny cheaper, buy it. Like literally a penny cheaper. You say, what if it's the same price per ounce? Well, then flip a coin or buy both. Because if you buy both, you ain't really spent any money. But I am going to say that I think that's the Kessler by virtue of the almond extract. No, almond oil flavor. Yeah, it is the Julius Kessler. Yeah, baby. I got it. And I don't think it's just chance. I think I really got it on flavor. But I'll call it a draw. A draw. Now let's look at the comments. BC's Beer Reviews. Oh, BC's Beer Reviews. I'm going to tell y'all one thing about BC's Beer Reviews. Regardless of if it's a bottle or a can, he's going to review it. He's in Michigan, close to Detroit, like really close. Like he could walk to Detroit. And I need to go back to Detroit. Whiskey Scout says Bloody Mary is more about the mix than the vodka, in my opinion. It has to be. And I think Middendorf knows how to do the mix because they loved it, Cheers, Louisiana Liquor Review, says Tommy Carroll. Cheers, back to you. BC's Beer Reviews. Oh, BC's Beer Reviews says Buffalo Trace is a great product. It is a great product when you consider the price point. You can get a bottle for $19.99, although nobody's been able to find it lately. It's like gone. Nobody. I went to a store here that sells liquor, and I told the girl at the counter, I said, y'all don't have any Buffalo Trace? She said, oh, yeah. When we have it in stock, nobody wants it. She said, when it's on the shelf, it never sells. She said, but when it runs out, like now, people call all day long asking, do they have Buffalo Trace? I got a kick out of that. Now, I said, well, you never know, I guess. But that was her opinion. But inexplicably, a whole shipment of Blanton's, Eagle Rare, and Weller came into that same store, which I said, wow, they can't get Buffalo Trace, but they got Eagle Rare, Blanton's, and Weller. Okay. And a $500 bottle of something called Whiskey. Oh, it was very expensive. $489 for one bottle. I wasn't a fan of the Buffalo Trace Bourbon Cream. Much prefer the Baileys. Well, I like both. And wait a minute. I've never had Baileys. I liked the Buffalo Trace when I was at Bardstown, Kentucky. The only time I ever tried it. I probably like Baileys. I'm easy to please. I never had that, says BC's Beer Reviews. Oh, BC's Beer Reviews. Victory. Never doubted you, says Joe Biden's dentures. Well, victory now. But let's see what's going to happen on Monday's challenge. And don't blame me if I'm a little out of sorts because I'm doing a follow-up right behind it. But it'll be all right. I don't have to go to work. Whistle Pig. Yeah, Whistle Pig. And I heard the store manager overhearing talking to somebody else saying, can you believe how much that stuff is? It's $500. It was $489. And he was like, would you ever pay that much for bourbon? And the other guy was like, hell no. He said, is anybody going to buy it? And then I hear him saying, hell yeah, they're going to buy it. I got people calling me about it. Because, they got some people that live around here that's going to pay that. Now, he might have only got 6 bottles, but they're going to sell. And then he got these other, all kind of stuff he got. I couldn't believe it. I said, they can't get the regular stuff, but they get all this extraordinary $500 bottle stuff. Oh, well. Okay, Whistle Pig. You're right, Whiskey Scout. Never doubt the Whiskey Scout. Make this your motto. Never doubt the Whiskey Stout. Scout. Stout. Well, two servings. $500 is a little pretentious. Hey, I don't know if it's pretentious, but it's expensive. But I can't judge it because I never had it. But I see it over there, and I'm like, wow, $489. Unbelievable. Oh, but don't worry, they got all kind of stuff over there. Whiskey Scout, if you went there, you'll have a nervous breakdown. All right, Coke. Steve from Philly says Coke. Okay. Coke. The Whiskey Scout says, I am a stout scout. Steve from Philly says, or Pepsi. And I guess he's going to come up next with our Royal Crown Cola. All right, well, that's it. This is over, but I'll be right back as soon as I shut this off and restart the next one with regular Bellows, the one you can get now, which is actually listed on their website. All right, thanks for watching this video production.